still a bit hungover from his Hocus Pocus 2 viewing party, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice with it. On mandate to get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. I love that about you, right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
And Ball Brian.
Anything you can do, we can do bleeding.
It's true. Please.
It's true.
All right, lots to get into today. First, a dangerous trend I've seen in the form of TV commercials. Skechers. Their new angle is you don't have to bend over.
What?
You step into that shoe.
No, that's
right.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
You don't have to tie them.
Tessa has a couple Skechers, and that's
no
what
more.
she does.
No more bending.
Does it really work?
We
I'm
started the evolution of the lazy shoe. You know, people used to wear, women, remember those suffragette types from the teens and the 20s that wore those lace-up boot
Oh, sure.
things? I mean,
almost like corseted.
It took like 40 minutes to put on a pair of
Yes.
those.
A servant in 40 minutes.
Then the dudes got into the sort of lineman boots, you know, especially shorter dudes had that big extra heel
right.
on it, and it was sort of a hipster thing. But that was 20 minutes to put on too. And then
that is the greatest story I have ever heard.
Well, that was. I think Danny was a cowboy booter. I think, as I recall,
heels
took a cowboy boots. The only shoe that takes longer to take off than put on.
Yes.
Every other shoe you can kick off takes a minute to put on.
Special tool.
You need a second person.
Yes, you needed a boot jack.
I assume it was something of that nature. It was a Y-shaped almost.
It's called a boot jack, I think. And it's a kind of U-shaped piece of wood with a thing, and you step on it with one foot.
It's angled.
Wow.
And it's got like a ramp. You step on one foot and you slide your boot into the Y.
Yeah, because your heel has to pivot.
Yeah.
If I'm purchasing any shoe and someone's trying to upsell me with a device to take it off, I'm out. I'm done with that shoe. Find me in the flip-flop department or the fuzzy bunny slipper department. I don't want to have to buy a second piece of gear to remove the shoe.
I know you don't wear dress shoes that often, but are you a shoehorn guy? And if you are you the extendo shoehorn guy?
The extendo shoehorn is when the beginning of the laziness kicked in. With somehow... At the end of the extendo shoehorn was a horse's head.
Yeah.
That's the moniker. That's
very
the animal we chose for and I guess horses are pretty far from their shoes. If maybe that's why.
That's a good point.
Ostrich would have worked for me.
Sure.
But you wouldn't really want to go with a beaver.
No.
Something on there, something that's down close.
A giraffe might be the best.
Salamander, maybe giraffe. Maybe it is a giraffe head, and I just kept thinking it was a horse head. It's hard to tell. But the extendo horse head shoehorn.
You can stand and do it.
Stand and do it. Then at some point, in terms of putting the shoe on and tying the shoe, at some point we got into the double Velcro strap. Mm-hmm. And that was for old people.
That's an osteo issue.
You made fun of those people.
I wore those shoes.
Have the dexterity or the energy or the anything to be able to tie the shoe.
Easy on, easy off.
Yeah.
My dad, by the way, to this day, I can't really explain it, but he does not tie a bow as we tie a bow in his shoes. He does one, and then he threads the other one through the knot and does it that way. And that's just how he learned it when he was 6. And
I don't get it.
Taking it to the grave.
It's like embroidery.
It's weird. Somebody taught him to bring it around and poke the head. Good luck if the tip's gone on the shoelace. But anyway.
I would say he's wasting his life, but what else is he doing?
Well, that's a good way to kill some time. Like most people don't include tying your shoes on your schedule for what you got to do that day. But I think for my dad,
10 to 10:15.
It's on there. So then we got into Velcro. And then what happened is Crocs came around. And everyone went, oh, yeah, fuck this fool's errand of bending over and tying things. We can just go Crocs.
I've never owned Crocs, and I still don't really get what they're for. Were they gardening clogs?
Or were they chef shoes?
Yeah, what?
I think they started, I feel like they started life as a gardening clog, then they made their way into the kitchen. Then
farm to table.
Yes. That's right. Then the croc got even lazier because the back strap heel hoop got thrown forward, and now we're just being lowered down into our Crocs.
Right.
And we've discovered that an ever-growing America, in terms of their belly size and their lethargy, it didn't take Skechers too long to figure out. Evidently Americans do not want to put their shoes on.
Yeah.
They would like to step into their shoes.
They know which
Sure.
way the wind's blowing.
Yeah, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'll bet this shit doesn't fly in other countries like it flies here. But now Skechers' big angle is now you just step into those shoes. No more burdensome leaning over or tying things or Velcro straps.
Cumbersome laces.
Yeah, I think we're now going to. I'm trying to think what the next evolution is. Shoes you can sleep in, so you never have to endure this indignity of putting a shoe on. Like what the time, the effort, the calories burned. Gina, come on, I'm a busy man. Like shoes you can sleep in.
Sure.
It's a time saver.
You're right. You're right.
Start off with the kids. Like once a year, you'd have to upsize. You have to step it up a size and a half. But
well, I think babies already started it with those socks with the little treads on the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah,
so that's
true.
just what we'll do.
The other trend I'm seeing on TV in the commercials is we've run out of patience and time with shoes, but we now have an extraordinary amount of time for earwax removal. I'm seeing tons of commercials with people putting high-powered jets into their ears.
Suction devices.
Yeah, the fracking.
Yeah, this was
Break it up.
Yes.
a thing. You know, somebody invented a Q-tip in 1871, and that's where it stayed for 126 years.
Only
and
recently has the word gotten out, don't use the Q-tip.
That's true.
Last 10 minutes, somebody said, you got to flush it out. Made me think of a day many, many years ago. I don't know if you guys remember this. It was in vogue, I'm going to say about 1998, 1999.
Okay.
Candling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Candling.
Was that also called coning?
Coning.
I think so.
Yeah.
Coning, maybe, yeah. I was...
the candle, the heat somehow brought out the wax or something?
Allegedly.
Yes.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yes. Crocs originally developed as a boating shoe, so says
That
Chris.
makes sense.
What?
Because
So-
boat shoes are kind of slip-ons.
Okay.
We had the topsider for many years, and then those got off the deck and into the preppy campuses.
That's right.
I then, many years ago, found myself with Jimmy, me, our wives in a farmer's market in Santa Barbara, and Jimmy and his wife said, you must buy these candle cones.
Oh, my God.
So we can candle when we get home. And it sounded great. It was this wax cone that you put in your ear. You have to puncture it through a paper plate.
Normal couples just have group sex. And you guys want to write just a fucking
Throw your keys in a bowl.
Well, it's funny. It's like rich man, poor man putting a hole in a paper plate.
Yeah.
It's either another neighborhood kid has been claimed
Shooting.
by gunfire and gang violence and we're doing a vigil, or rich guys are coning.
You're either taking back the night or removing
Right.
Taking back the wax.
Up in Beverly Hills. So I remember we got home, we poked the cone through a plate. You have to lay down on your side. They then light the cone.
It's dubious.
And somehow the cone is made of wax, so that the cone dripping wax, they think that's your earwax being pulled through the cone, except for it doesn't do it.
No,
I don't know.
It's a myth, according to WebMD.
It was big.
It's supposed to create some light suction.
Yes.
Yes.
And you know what? This dovetails nicely. Ugh, gross.
Yes.
No, dovetails nicely. Do you remember oil pulling? We put oil in your mouth and swish it around.
Yes,
It's supposed
yes.
to get the toxins out. It's the same thing, just a different orifice.
Yes, so there's that.
Have you guys ever had a earbox removed by a doctor?
Yes, it is fracking.
They pulled out a half worm size thing of wax from my ear. I was having trouble hearing years ago. And after the drive home, got out of the car, wave of nausea just overcame because
inner
the
ear.
inner ear thing.
Yeah.
I was
I
dizzy
remember
and
that.
I was like, I'm gonna throw up. I bent over and it passed. Thank God nothing happened, but instant nausea.
There's a few different devices I see advertised on TV where they squirt water. I don't know anyone who possesses one of these devices.
No, it's not something you're generally supposed to do at home.
I use hydrogen peroxide and just one of those regular squeezy things. Because I live my life inside of headphones. My ears get impacted all the time.
Are you even supposed to remove the wax from your ears?
If it's causing a blockage,
Yes.
yes.
But other than that, like there's a lot of stuff
It'll
that
also fall out naturally too.
the body kind of knows what it's doing. It kind of produces stuff. I've always felt that way about the folks who are like rubbing and scrubbing their face all the time. And this got ground up apricot pit in it. And you scrub and scrub. Like those people's skin is the most oily and the most irritated because their body's always playing catch up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I got to put back. Your body has to put back whatever you've been stripping
Yes.
away every night before you go to bed. And I don't know where earwax lands on that.
Well, this says it is unnecessary to clean your ears. And as we all know now, if you're using a Q-tip to poke
It just
inside your
jams it
ear,
in.
you're
Yes.
impacting it and you may rupture your eardrum.
Yeah, the was really I don't know why. There's something that always stood out in my head about when I first began to hate Ellen. Jimmy went, I don't know if we can even find this. Jimmy went on Ellen's show for like the first time. I think it was his first appearance. Was kind of weird because when Jimmy and I were together, I was doing Loveline, we were doing the Man Show, was kind of coming on, and I was the one who was going on The View or Letterman or Ellen because I just had a bigger presence back then. But Jimmy was sort of, I don't know, 6 months or a year behind me. He would then go on Ellen and whatever. And the first time he went on Ellen, he had this observation, and it was funny. I maybe fresh off the candling or the coning with me, but he's like, it says on the Q-tip thing, do not put it in your ear, inside of your ear. But then what's it for?
Yeah.
I don't need a device. I can use my finger to get the outside of my ear. And so he was sitting, making a sort of comedic observation with Ellen, and Ellen just hung him out to dry. Ellen was just like, you put it in you don't put it in your ear. And it's like, yeah, everybody
That's what a
wants to
Q-tip.
put it in your ear, but
Yeah.
it says don't put it in your ear. And she's like, I don't put it in my ear. Like she did a whole Bonaducci
Yeah.
thing,
Went the other way.
Yeah, like when I said, you're supposed to tip the guy who makes you the bagel, but you go to the Home Depot, you get 40 feet of anchor chain. You don't tip that. I tip that guy.
Okay. Of course you do.
First off, I'm still correct that the lion's share of human beings that go into Home Depot do not tip the old guy who gets up on the A-frame ladder and gets their swamp cooler off the upper deck. Number one. Danny, you don't tip that guy.
Yeah.
You've never been in a Home Depot. I don't. This
That's
is not only point shitting. It's glorifying
Lying.
your lifestyle about being so magnanimous that you tip that guy. Oh, this is Ellen and Jimmy. Is this his first appearance? It was like 2000, 2001,
Jimmy's
2000.
blending into the couch.
Whatever. He wore
Very
the
khaki.
pants.
And I say,
All right. I don't know what this bit is, but now she's just sitting there going, no. I mean, what you do is you go, yeah, it says don't do it, but everyone does it.
Right.
Just say, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Like, what do you care? No one's going to test you on it, Ellen.
No.
I remember it's just as my groundling training was kicking in. I was like, oh, he's just sitting there describing this universal truth that everyone does. And she's going,
No.
No.
And the talk show host is the best at the yes and. Like, oh yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. Like, keep the ball in the air. Like, no.
Yes. No. No.
Do you want to know what Q-tips were originally invented for? And I can't tell you exactly what this means, but I can guess. They were called baby nosegays.
Wow.
And what a nosegay...
Love that band.
I think a nosegay used to be like flowers you hold in front of your nose because everyone smelled really bad, like in the Baroquean times. So maybe it was to gently clean the nostrils of the baby. But yeah, that they were called baby nosegays.
Harvard Health says unnecessary to clean ear with Q-tips. Ears are self-cleaning. If you need to clean due to buildup, use eardrops to soften or have healthcare provider remove it. So it's
it's
another thing we sell. I mean, I'll bet you. Well, first off, you learn a little bit. Like all of humanity who came before us, before Q-tips were invented, nobody ever did shit
Never came up.
with their ears. All right, we have Dawson's got a hypothetical.
Oh.
Now, I don't want to pre-shit.
Oh, boy. But
I'm always prepared to be underwhelmed by everyone else's hypotheticals, other than my own, obviously. But if it's a good hypothetical, you're going to split the room.
I'm working on this.
Okay.
It may need a little more tweaks, but I was thinking about this the other day. Would you rather be a smoker? You have to be a smoker in this whole thing.
okay. No.
Be a smoker and be worried every day your entire life. Like just worry that you're going to get lung cancer. Never get lung cancer, die at 90.
Mm-hmm.
Or smoke your entire life, never worry about lung cancer or anything like that, and die at 60 of cancer.
Interesting.
Okay.
So the burden of the worry gives you another 30 years.
I'd probably take the worry-free life.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
What
Well, if
kind
it
of
doesn't
life?
split the room, then there's still more I got to work on this.
Well, I
depends who
think
you
I
ask.
think it's the overemphasis on worry every day.
Right.
That would just be a burdensome existence. But I don't know how to lighten that worry load.
Perhaps-
I don't think you can lighten that load in this hypothetical.
What if every time you light a cigarette, somebody next to you says, "Aren't you worried about cancer?" So it's always coming at you from somebody else.
Yeah, that would make make a
that'd be
difference.
more annoying.
But it's a decent hypothetical because 30 years is, a good chunk of time.
But those aren't the good 30
Now,
years.
what if instead
Third
of
act.
at 60 dying of cancer, you just drop dead peacefully?
A heart attack.
Is that peaceful?
No, I'm just trying to relate to smoke.
So take cancer out of the situation. You'll never get cancer in any situation.
But we still all went with the 60.
Yeah, that didn't sweeten
So
the
that
deal
didn't
for us.
sweeten the deal. That made
Oh,
me...
I thought you guys went with. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're okay.
Yeah. All right. Tweak it up.
All right.
Shape it.
So
All right.
horrible, bloody death at 60, or you go in your sleep at 90.
We have another hypothetical, but the poll was taken, which is
Yeah, we put this poll on Twitter.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Who would you rather have a single beer with, Tom Brady or William Shatner?
Oh.
And then we followed it up with, how about 150 beers?
It's a long night.
Not in one sitting,
150
but
in
yeah.
a
Did on
Yeah.
the Man Show. It's super
Yeah.
Dave.
Well, Adam predicted, what was your prediction?
I thought you'd do the one beer with Brady, but if you're going to drag it out over the course of 150 meetings, Shatner would be better.
Yeah. So right now, as we record this, and it's kind of been this way anyway throughout the whole poll, William Shatner is beating Tom Brady in both categories. In the single beer, William Shatner is about 70-30, and then the 150 beers, William Shatner is 60-40.
So it's
Oh,
kind
he
of
went the other
opposite, too.
direction of what
Yeah.
I would have thought.
Either way, he's winning, but yeah, it is
Interesting.
going the other direction.
Why? I wouldn't have anticipated that. I mean, because Brady's seems interesting enough, but eventually he's
wanna
a
move
jock and you were just going to kind of talk sports or whatever. But Shatner's got a lot of thoughts about everything. Well, it's a testimony to how interesting people think Shatner is.
Okay, update. Die at 90 without cancer, but you worry that you're going to get cancer. Or never worry about cancer and die a horrible death from cancer at 60.
Oh.
So live to 90
we're
and
still
worry.
worrying.
You know what?
We're still
Or
worrying.
never worry
You know what?
and get cancer and die at 60.
That changes things for me. Because not to bring down the room, but because I essentially just experienced that with my father, I'd much rather him bitching for another couple of years and have him die at 90.
Yeah,
So
a long, excruciating death is pretty,
I'm going to
tough.
go with the 90 on that because it was pretty fucking horrible.
As horrible as it sounds, the idea of worrying for every year, every day of my life just sounds excruciating to me.
He
So
was
I'm
doing that
still going to
anyway.
go 60.
All right, we split the room.
All right.
So I have another, I don't know, hypothetical as long as we're on it. But I'm curious where you guys are at with this. So Aaron Judge hit his 60-second home run, beat Roger Maris, blah, blah, blah. They had 2 records for a while. I may screw this up, but Babe Ruth, he did his 60 home runs when they played 154 games.
Correct.
And Roger Maris hit the 61st on his last game of 162 game series. So obviously, if they clipped it at 154, he wasn't getting there.
There was a lot of consternation at the time amongst the baseball elite.
They did 2 separate. Yeah. You got the record for the 154 game, and you got the 162. Yeah, my thing is, well, anyway. So now Aaron Judge hits his homer, and a guy's out in the stands in left field, and he catches it, and now it's his ball. And Aaron Judge just seems, by all accounts, by the most magnanimous, sort of team-oriented, friendly guy, where they said to him, oh, Maris hit it in 163.
Technically, yeah, they played an extra game because of a tie. So.
No kidding.
So he really pushed
played
it.
one more
Stretched it
game.
out.
Yeah, than
Famously,
the
they
Judge.
put an asterisk by his record, and that was like, oh, this was done in an extra whatever number of games.
So now the guy's got the ball. And Aaron Judge does a press conference, and he says, "Yeah, I'd like the ball, but the other guy's got it, and that's how it works. But maybe we'll get it back. I don't know." What should we do with that ball? Now, the guy in the stands caught it. It's his ball. On the other hand, you'd like Aaron Judge to be able to own that ball, or maybe for it to go into the Hall of Fame or something like that.
Do you know what they're asking for it?
I think they speculated it's worth $2 million.
Yes.
Really?
What do you guys...
He was already offered $2 million from an auction house.
He already was?
Yeah.
Okay. And... to make matters worse, I think the guy caught it's a cajillionaire.
He's vice president of Fisher Investments.
That's great.
And he's married to a former Bachelor contestant.
That's great.
See
Please
how
tell me
it goes
he
for
elbowed
people?
a kid out of the way to grab it.
Yes. Had a kid with a porridge bowl standing next to him, and he just knocked it out of his
Begging for some
hands
more.
and grabbed.
Porridge all over the kid.
He couldn't afford a mitt, the kid. He
Yeah.
could catch it in his porridge bowl,
That's
but he
right.
knocked him out of the way.
Oh, awful.
All right. Would you guys be down with this? Because we're kind of, what we've created is this weird world where it's like, well, he should give the ball back, or he shouldn't give the ball back, or he'll give the ball back and Aaron Judge will sign a bat for him and give him a couple of tickets to the next homestand or whatever. What if we just said on balls that were very significant, this is what we've taken 3 guys from Pawn Stars and another guy over here from Moody's house of auctions and celebrity memorabilia, whatever. They've crunched the numbers. It's worth $2 million. Aaron, give him $2 million. You can have all, or choose not to. You are obligated to take the
deal.
Stated value as come up from the whatever. Now, look, you went to a Yankees game and walked out $2 million richer.
You did all right.
There is no doubt that 10 years from now, the ball is going to be worth more, but so is your house.
But Aaron Judge gets first refusal.
He gets first refusal, but Aaron Judge is not giving a signed bat away at this point. He's getting out his checkbook.
So there's no guarantee the ball will be worth more. Remember Mark McGwire's ball, or whoever's it was, when Barry Bonds eclipsed that record, that ball was all of a sudden worth a fraction of what it was. So what if Aaron Judge hits 68 home runs next year?
That's the
that's
dice you
that's
roll.
kind of the rub.
I was going to say your libertarian buddies are not going to be happy to hear this socialist content out of you. I thought you were a free market capitalist.
I am. I feel for the guy who hit the ball. I feel like in a way that's kind of his ball. I would feel that way it's that way in football too. When the guy, if the guy threw his 500th touchdown pass, and it happens on occasion, the receiver rejoiced by just throwing it up into the stands. I kind of would like Brady to get his ball back.
If he really cared about it, he shouldn't have hit it out of the park.
Thank you.
There you go.
Dawson's right. Should have kept that home run in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Use a little finesse.
Should have bunted.
He did it. He did it on the 61st.
Yeah.
Very nicely.
The bullpen.
He landed it about 8 inches lower than the guy could stretch his arm out.
The guy just missed it.
Hit
too.
the side of the thing and went right back in the bullpen, and he got that one back. So
Yeah.
that's kind of kismety.
Yeah, landed in the other team's bullpen too, and they gave it to him.
Right.
Aw.
This one didn't make it out by much either. It's kind of funny. the guy, was it a Toronto fan? The guy who missed the 61st was pretty pissed. He had a mitt on, but he was a kind of short, stocky guy, and he didn't have quite the reach.
Stumpy.
And he leaned over. I want to know that guy's net worth.
Because Kimmel actually had him on his show.
I'm going to explain my no God theory. Because the billionaire hedge fund guy just went right into his mitt. He just put his hand up, pow. The poor schlub struggling to make ends meet, God kept it like 5 inches out of the range of his stumpy arm.
Yeah, Kimmel asked him what he would have done with that money.
Oh, no.
And then he turns the webcam to his kids, said I would have put them all to college.
Oh, Jesus.
Paid off my medical bills.
Yeah, so there's that.
And
that
did
one
you
was
see
about
the dude,
$250K too.
Did you see the guy who either fell over or jumped next to him?
Unnecessarily.
He must be banned at this point.
You get removed for that.
Well, that guy, some people said he fell off. He didn't fall off. The last one hit the fence and dropped into the bullpen. This one was on a trajectory. So, 18 inches lower, could have hit the fence and dropped in the bullpen. He was smart because he was off to the side 12 feet. He wasn't going to get the ball. So he thought, 9-foot drop on a 10% chance this thing hits and ricochets down.
Sure.
I can make a break for it.
Kind of like that guy.
Yeah.
He's not. Look, the all-time leader in the clubhouse of the guy who ejects himself from the stands is the Giants fan who caught the extra point of the field goal, either one.
Oh.
Literally just jumped out.
That was amazing.
Caught it midair and just free. That guy's a fucking crackerjack.
And didn't hurt himself.
Didn't
Caught
hurt
the ball,
himself either.
Stuck the landing.
Yeah.
But of course, the best ones are the dad with the baby in one arm and a beer in the other, and just kind of doesn't put the baby down, and just grabs it.
All right, Dawson's got an article on who should replace Trevor Noah, I believe.
That's right. This is from the Daily Wire. The Daily Caller, excuse me. They got several picks to make The Daily Show great again.
It's good.
With a new seat available at the helm of The Daily Show, the media team at The Daily Caller decided to come up with our top choices to replace Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah recently lost his show after 7 years of disrespecting America. Not being very funny. In general, never having a beat to set him apart from other late-night hosts.
Feels editorial.
I'm going to get on this list.
Sources suggest that Roy Wood Jr. is a shoo-in to replace Noah, but we have other suggestions for the producers of The Daily Show to consider.
Hey, can I say this? Whether it's host of The Daily Show or whether it's Secretary of Agriculture, this move where we go, all right, white guy, then a black guy gets in or a black woman, and then we go, well, we have to now replace them with someone of equal or similar color or whatever. No, we'll go back to a blank slate. Because then we do this thing where now the leader in the clubhouse has to be someone who's black because Trevor Noah was black or half black or whatever it is. But anyway, all right, here, what's the list?
Their first choice, and it's not in alphabetical order, is Adam Carolla.
Oh, boy, I'd like to see that.
Time to give America a good spanking.
Yeah.
What America needs more than anything right now is a grumpy, old, almost boomer male to yell at us and whip us into shape.
This is getting worse.
No one else spouts misery truths and sarcastic bitterness better than Carolla.
Yeah.
What's more, he could bring Dr. Drew onto the show to actually help us navigate the next pandemic.
All right.
I like it.
Next up, Tim Dillon.
The whole thing?
Tim's been on the show.
Yeah.
Well, just go over the list. So got Tim Dillon.
So you got Tim Dillon. Tone Bell. I am unfamiliar with Tone Bell.
I don't know who Tone Bell is either.
He's a comedian. He's funny.
Oh.
Good dude.
Has
Brad
he been on this
Williams
show?
made the list.
Brad. Good.
All right.
Lower that desk.
Whitney Cummings.
Yeah, we like Whitney.
Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson. And finally, Shane Gillis.
By the way, Pete Davidson can't do this job because this job requires a lot of preparation. Yeah. And it's not you just going, man, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, that's cute for little snippets of my mom doesn't really like me and I don't want to be here and I didn't know what's going on. That job is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
That is prep, and more prep.
I'm actually going to need to know their thinking behind that. Was that one like a joke? You know how they gave everyone
now
their...
that the show's single, Pete Davidson's going to slide in?
I'd like to know what they thought about... That's funny. How he made it on the list.
It's Giselle Bundchen is single, and here comes Pete. Like,
okay, that's a joke.
Anytime there's an opening, whether it's between your legs or behind a desk,
that's good.
Pete Davidson's name got to be in the mix.
I like that.
All right.
Curious, if they asked you to do the Daily Show, would you do it?
Why not?
Well, I wouldn't want to move to New York, I don't think.
You have to?
But no, I don't know if you have
These
to.
days?
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to get everyone who's associated with the show to move out here. So it's like one person moving versus 86 people moving to another coast. You know, it'd be the kind of thing that'd be hard to say no to. On the other hand, it would just become... It would all encompassing, you know, kind of becomes
kind of like worrying about cancer until you're 90.
Yeah. Exactly like that. So look, a couple years ago, certainly, but also then, you know, you want to travel, you want to do gigs, you want to have a little flexibility. It would be, I'd be very honored, but would probably not do it. Although we'd have to talk money.
Sure.
People never bring up money.
A little more than you could walk away from.
Yeah, they always celebrities don't bring it up, and whoever's bringing up the question doesn't bring it up. And you know, because like, they used to go to me years ago, like, "Would you ever go back into terrestrial radio?" I was like, "Yeah, if they paid me, sure, I'd do anything if they paid me."
Money.
Yeah, the whole plan. My plan was get paid as much as I possibly can to do shit I don't really want to do. That was my life. It started with carpet cleaning, and now we're here. But
you probably don't remember this, but you gave me some good perspective. I don't know if it's advice, but it was perspective on contract negotiations, et cetera, when I was very young. And you were like, people ask me all the time, would you be interested in doing this? And you said, I don't have an inherent interest in doing anything, but for the right amount of money, I can get very interested.
Yeah, that was my Sirius XM thing where they, for the first 7 years of that company, they said, we want to gauge your interest. And I'm like, tell me, pull a number out of your ass, and then I'll tell you how interested.
I'm not coming to you.
By the way, you think I was at work, you get the 13-year-old neighbor to come in. I'd like to gauge your interest on shoveling my driveway. Like, well Pops, pull out a double sawbuck, and I'll be very interested. Like, or a roll of Lifesavers. I'm not interested.
Right.
That's how life. And they kept saying, we want to gauge your interest. We want to gauge your interest. And they did it for so many years, and they never made an offer. They just kept gauging. And at some point when I was at SiriusXM years ago, making the rounds, doing
50 shows in that building.
Yeah, I did Stern and whatever other shows they had or something, and you get your little liaison, and then at the very end, the person who's your liaison, she walks you through this maze, and now you're going to do this show, and then you're going to do Opie and Anthony's show, and then you're going to go off and do the Breakfast Club, and you're going to do blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, she's like, Bob Jenkins, that guy who runs the whole thing in the corner office, he wants me to bring you by before you leave, and he wants to talk. And I said, so we can gauge my interest. And this poor 22-year-old chick was like, huh? And I'm like, I'm not going. And she's like, you're not going to, because it's the corner office with Bob who runs the whole place. I go, you tell him. I said, no, fuck off. Fuck right off. 7 fucking years of you guys gauging my interest. I don't want to have another fucking meeting where somebody kicks my tires. Tell Bob I said, fuck off. I'm not going into that fucking office, and I'm leaving when I'm done with my last show.
So, Jenna, what did Adam say?
She was like,
where's Adam?
She was dispatched just to bring me up. I said, fuck you. I'm getting in my elevator and leaving. And I did.
Good for you.
There was no interest gauge. All right, let me tell you about Simply Safe. Thinking about protecting your home, but waiting for the right time. Right now, Adam Carolla Show listeners get 40% off. That's right, best home security of 2022. So says U.S. News and World Report. I use them. I trust them. It is Simply Safe. Very ergonomic, very easy to set up, peel and stick. Batteries last up to 10 years. No drilling, no pulling wires. Order what you need online and set it up yourself in 30 minutes, 24/7 professional monitoring. Costs about $1 a day. Less than half the cost of ADT's professional installed plans. Do not miss a chance to save big and protect your home. Get 40% off your first order, or 40% off your order, I should say, at simplysafe.com/Adam. Do that today. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes. That is simplysafe.com/Adam. All right, Ward Connerly is ready to zoom in.
Yeah, we just got him on right now.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
I wish I knew what you quick you.
If you said Brokeback Mountain,
I wish I knew how to quit you.
you're correct. Now, back to the show.
Ozzy was in this country for 42 years, and he couldn't say the word how.
You wouldn't know it.
Ward Connerly is an activist. He's a businessman. He's a soon-to-be author as well. He's joining us to talk. Well, I think your field of expertise, or at least your passion, is affirmative action, Ward. Is that correct?
Getting rid of it is my passion, yeah.
Uh-oh, got a rough connection. What's the problem with affirmative action in your mind?
You know, I think that it reinforces the perception that guys like me, who was born with a C on his birth certificate for colored, suggesting that I was inferior, 3/5 of a man, it just reinforces that. If you think I'm equal, you shouldn't think that I need any special attention. And affirmative action.
All right, he sees that. Why don't we get on the
intended to be special attention?
That's to go this way. Yeah, I get it. We're having a tough connection. I think maybe we should try a phoner with Ward, or we can keep going and see what happens. I agree. There's more of this talk now than ever. I come from a pretty progressive group. I was pretty progressive myself. It kind of made sense at beginning. Like, all right, well, if we did this group wrong, why not lend them a helping hand to then get them up to speed, sort of thing. I was for it, but I don't think it's paid many dividends. It's one of these things where it's like, in theory, it's a good, strong theory, but it's 2022, and I see no proof that it's helping.
It's just window dressing for the institution. As you know, I served a 12-year sentence.
All right, let's just clip it.
On the Board of Regents of the University of California.
Let's just get... all right, just clip it for a second. We'll get him on the phone. Right. The reason is because this will continue.
Yeah.
Hey, Ward, we're gonna call you. Okay, good. He's gone. Okay, stand by and we'll get going.
So it's interesting that you say that, because that does seem to be the logic. One must compensate an entire swath of humanity who started so far behind everyone else to, like you said, get everyone to, up to speed. But
it makes perfect sense. But if you really think about the application of it, what it does a lot of, if you said, all right, we need these campuses to be more diverse. So Asians who got high test scores, we're going to clip a few of you, and then African Americans and Hispanics who got lower test scores, we're going to shuttle you in here, and now you're walking around the campus of Brown or Yale or Harvard
Does it have to be
and
Brown?
Stanford. And you can't keep up because you should have been at Cal State Northridge or a JC or whatever, because that's where your level is. I mean, it doesn't have to do with the color of your skin. If you took me in high school and sort of artificially inserted me onto the campus of Stanford,
it would explode.
I would have failed. And then the kids fail. They can't keep up. And then they end up dropping out. And then also, it creates a stigma because you see the black kid or the Hispanic girl and you go, are you really here because you've earned it or because we've artificially inflated your scores?
Which has to be a lovely way for a person of color to walk around campus. Like, do you need to see my proof?
Ward?
I'm here.
Sorry, the Zoom was just failing too much.
Can I ask Ward a question?
Go ahead.
Ward, I have a question. I haven't heard affirmative action as a phrase in what feels like decades. Is it going by another name now? Are we pivoted to a more friendly euphemism?
Equity.
Yeah, that's
equity. You know, when you ever hear these people who believe in diversity talk about it, it's always DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I say you've got the alphabet wrong. It's almost DIE because you're killing the fundamental American system, which is we have to compete. You're killing that. You're saying I should be given something solely because of my skin color, rather than what this country has always said since I've been a kid. You treat people without regard to those factors.
Yeah, it's. I've been warning about this and kind of sounding the alarm about this for quite some time, although I just get shoved into some sort of racist category. But it's no more racist for me to be against this stuff than it is to be against kids. When I say moms and dads, make your kid breakfast, you're hurting your kid. And then they go, he doesn't like kids and he doesn't like breakfast. Like, first off, be a little more intellectually complex than that.
They heard keywords.
Yeah.
Yes. But, you know, it's funny. It's an interesting thing. So my theory has always been that when Barack Obama got his second term, all the race hustlers had to go into overtime now to really convince us this was a racist country, because the yardstick my whole life was, are we ready for a black president with this country? It's like, if we voted in a black president, then we were done.
America has spoken.
We're done. And so if you notice, it's been ratcheted up. Obama wasn't even a race hustler at the beginning. He was just like, hey, people don't vote me in, then they don't like my policies. Got nothing to do with the court. He and his wife are out now fucking hustling race too. I was watching halftime the doc with J-Lo. J-Lo, half that fucking doc was her going like, me and Shakira have to represent Latinas and we need Latina representation and we need to, and it's like, bitch, we just think of you as an entertainer. When the Rolling Stones perform, I don't look at them as representing England or anything. I just look at them as you shake your ass, you're J-Lo.
Yeah.
You think you're that way. You're obsessed. She's obsessed with her Latina as a young Latina growing up. Like, that's her burden. She's then transposing it and grafting it onto America. We don't give a shit. Sorry. Go ahead, Warren.
You're right. I mean, you get it. I just wish more people did.
They get it. They're just scared.
I think that we're going to kill everything that's good about this country. You know, when Senator Sanders ran for president twice, I thought it was a joke almost. This guy's not going to go anywhere. But he did. He didn't win, but he achieved a value of leverage that resulted in him being the chair of the Senate Banking Committee. My God. If you look at the history of the Senate Banking Committee, it typically goes to the most conventional politician in the Senate. And now here we have Bernie Sanders, which gives him an awful lot of leverage. Well, his platform was that he wanted to, quote, transform America. And by golly, he's doing it. Along with AOC and the rest of that crowd, the progressive wing has taken over the Democrat Party. And the Democrat Party is running the federal government. And so you get this progressive ideology in which Vice President Harris had no reluctance last Saturday when given the question of, well, how are you going to deal with Hurricane Ian? She said, we have to deal with low-income people and people of color. And she went on to say that we look for equality, and she talked about equity. You know, nothing could be more stupid than to be looking at the whole issue of people who are losing their homes, their lives, and putting that in the context of equity.
Yeah, that's the
Fortunately, on Face the Nation that Sunday, the FEMA director came along and said, no, we're going to help everybody. But it gave us a peek behind the curtain of this equity crap. And it's going to kill this nation, I'll tell you.
Well, first off, it's mathematically impossible to pull off. So, number one, her thesis is we don't all start in the same place. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And now we must fix that. So, good luck with that. And she's nuts, and she's just speaking, off the top of her head when it comes to that. But obviously, that's what she's thinking. I don't know why she says that into an open mic. She should. That kind of talk would have been considered insane X amount of years ago. It's now commonplace. I would be down with a lot of these ideas if I felt like it was a road to some success. Like, if I felt like giving people a lot of free shit because of the color of their skin or their sexual proclivities, if I thought it really worked and you could present a lot of case studies, like, I would be for rent control if, in fact, it worked. Sure. I heard a study.
Anything that works, you got to be in favor of.
I heard a study, I don't know, out of Minneapolis, units or apartment buildings or whatever. 2 years ago, they had 1,300 permits pulled. Last year, they had 200 because they went, we're going to enact rent control. Well, no developer's going to build an apartment complex if you have rent control, so no permits. We're not going to build here. It doesn't work. The notion of like, well, so this poor family want to live in a better neighborhood, and how about a little subsidy? And that's the greatest thing in the world if it worked. It doesn't work. This is one of those things that doesn't work.
I don't know if this is from the same article you were talking about, but there's another article saying that some of those units are in very, very nice buildings, and the people who are there rent controlled are pissed because they don't have access to the amenities, the pool, the gym, the fancy.
Well, and also it never ends. It's like, give me more free shit. People get hooked on that like heroin. They immediately lose their muscle mass and they depend more on the government. And then they get more agitated and angry at people that have shit. And then the politicians stir that pot. Sorry, Ward. Ward, let's talk about you. Yeah, go ahead.
I would add to your equation here the factor that as long as nobody else, not nobody else, but as long as others are not heard in the process, we don't give anybody anything in this country except an opportunity. And when affirmative action came along, we were largely a country of white. Country was founded by white people. Yes, that doesn't mean it was bad. Founded by white people, black people were the principal, quote, minority. That was pretty much the situation until around the late 60s. Now, look at California. We are a collection of, quote, minorities, one of which includes white, by the way, now. And as a result of that, when you give affirmative action largely for black people, you're taking away from other people who had nothing to do with the conditions that black people were confronted by when you started this mess. And now you can't let go of it. It's like tar. You just can't let go of affirmative action. It served its purpose, which really should have been and was to alter the perception that black people were inferior and needed a chance to catch up. But when they caught up, you still have this darn affirmative action, and every black person is judged by that affirmative action standard.
Yeah.
So I don't know who wins. I know who loses. It's largely people of Asian descent and whites increasingly. And you don't dare defend a white person because that makes you either a racist or an Uncle Tom. So what you have is you have this creeping reduction in America of merit-based policies. No longer can you even say that sort of stuff in open society because people won't listen to you. They think you're a freak because you believe in equality.
Yeah. What is, Ward, what is your background? Where do you come from?
I was born in Louisiana in 1939. My parents, mother and father, divorced when I was 2. My mother died when I was 4. I was raised by my mother's side of the family, who were Creole, Irish, and Choctaw Indian primarily. My father's side, and I didn't see my father for 55 years, but on my father's side was white. His mother his grandmother had been born a slave. Her husband was a white slave owner. He owned a ranch with cows and horses and slaves. One of his kids on the plantation was Albert Self. He ran away with a slave. They set up shop in Leesville, and the father's side of my family emerged from that slave and slave owner relationship. And it uniquely affords me the chance to say, I've been there. I see what it's like to have been born with a C on my birth certificate, which sets me apart from the rest of my society. Man, it isn't right. It just isn't right morally to do that. And to put people behind the 8 ball in most of their life to say, don't treat me differently. Give me the same opportunity to succeed or fail as you would give anybody else.
Yeah, well, it begins with the family. And by the way, you had C for colored. Mm-hmm. When did that go away? Early 60s or no?
Couldn't it make sense?
It went away. It went away in the late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it actually went away before then because colored became Negro, Negro became black, black became African American, African American became a person of color, which to me sounds like color, doesn't it?
Full circle.
I guess. Also, be careful when you just keep changing names every 11 years. That's never a good sign, because that's just one of those window dressing fixes where people get angry at, you didn't call me Latinx or Latinx or whatever. It's like, you got to worry about test scores and family staying together. I've always said it all kind of begins with the family, the black family. Yeah. I don't know where the dad's 70%. 70% are growing up without a dad in the family. There's no possible way you could have any success at any group, whatever your heritage is. If you were at a 70% dad not hanging in and raising, you, me, Choctaw Indian, it would not matter. If you were at those kind of numbers, that group would not have the success that you wanted them to have. Be nice if the politicians steered a little toward that problem. They stay away from that problem completely. But Ward, your thoughts?
I think you're right. I do sort of modify that thinking, Adam, a little bit, because there are so many families, and increasingly it's not just black. There are so many families that are now being headed by a single head of household.
Yes.
And I come from that. My grandmother was the head of the committee that raised me. I say I was raised by a committee of three, and that's the fact. My grandmother on my mother's side, my aunt, Bert, who was my mother's sister, and her husband, Uncle James, a committee of three. And the one thing that, but my grandmother was the head of state in raising my life. She was the person that was very, very firm about my life. She said I have to have boundaries. I need to know when I'm supposed to be home at night. That committee of the three made sure that I understood the rules and obeyed them. If not, there was a price to pay. So I think that the family is all important, but it depends on how you define the family. A single mom can also provide the discipline that's necessary. She can't offer the counsel that a father would, a father by birth, but a single mom can be an effective parent serving both roles.
Yeah,
And,
anybody can do anything. I'm just saying statistically, white,
Yeah.
black, whatever. Final question for you, Ward. I'm interested in your thoughts. Saw a long, extended interview with Kanye West last night on Tucker Carlson. It was very interesting. And he didn't come across nearly as nutty as we all think he is at all. But he has thoughts. And he's like more than half the kids, in New York, black kids are being aborted. I'm against that, than kids being there. More black kids aborted in New York than born in New York. And so he's piping up about that kind of shit, And he had this kind of theory, and I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. When a very prominent black tastemaker kind of goes the other direction, like he's wearing a MAGA hat, he likes
White
Trump
Lives
and all
Matter.
that, White Lives Matter, they turn on him hard because it's like, you're an influencer. You got to understand, you ain't Larry Elder. You're Kanye West.
It probably feels like a betrayal.
And if you are against the cause or not down with whatever the fucking talking points are, it was very interesting. He said, they don't tell, the Kardashians, they don't tell them what to say. They tell them what not to say. You cannot say this. You cannot bring that up or whatever. He did, and that's why that world implodes on him. They go ballistic. They cannot take, because it's all about the influencers in that world. Ward, any thoughts about that statement?
Yeah, he's right about that. He's right. I was serving as a regent of the University of California for 12 years, an unpaid position, and you are expected to give up your life, basically, to serve the people of California in that role. And that's where I learned that the university was lying to people when it said we don't discriminate. The bottom of every document you will look at, it says the university does not discriminate because of race, color, creed, sexual orientation, disability, all of that stuff. And when you find out that Berkeley and UCLA and the San Diego, most of our campuses, except maybe for Merced, and I think Irvine still does, avoid race preferences, but all of the others, the labs, the law schools, the medical schools, all within that UC conglomerate, they all discriminate in the interest of diversity. Merit is sacrificed in the interest of diversity. So when I learned that, I said, hey, this isn't right. As a fiduciary, I can't pretend that you're not discriminating. And so I started opposing it. And I can't tell you how much grief I received rocks thrown in the window of my business. I'd be sitting at an airport, Adam, and I'm seated at the table of a coffee shop. If a black person walks in and sees me, I had one guy who stood there just in front of me with his hands on his hip, shaking his head like, "You piece of trash. How could you do this to us?" And it's hard to ignore that stuff. When you're the recipient of that conduct, it's hard to ignore it.
Well,
my thought was, screw you. I don't have to take this. So I got up and walked away. But I shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah,
shouldn't have to do it.
They, as I've stated on the show many times, that group, they do not like your Dennis Pragers of the world, but they despise the Larry Elders or the Candace Owens or the Ward Connerlys of the world, and now Kanye West of the world. When one of their own turns on their policies, they go ballistic. Another piece of my white privilege.
Yeah,
I get to do whatever the fuck I want.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Then nobody in my tribe
is disappointed.
is disappointed. Now, Ward Connerly, we got a break here. Ward's World is a book. It's not, shall be released soon, so you can keep your eyes out for that. And Twitter at @2BEqual. Thank you very much, Ward Connerly.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it as well. All right, let me tell you about Freshly. Summer is winding down. Oh, good. It's too damn hot out here. Cooler weather starting to kick in. Getting back to normal feels great. Don't add meal prep to the top of all the stuff you got to do to keep your hustle on. Freshly, fresh-made meals delivered right to your door. And now, for a limited time, unlock exclusive end of summer savings and get $125 off across your first 5 orders. This stuff is good. It's nutritious. It's very easy to whip up. It's fresh, not frozen, ready in just 3 minutes. No cooking, no dishes, no trips to the store. You can choose from their signature collection, their gluten-free collection, dairy-free, plant-based, carb-smart. That's what I choose from. And calorie-conscious meals as well. It is Freshly, right, Dawson?
Having one last thing on your plate never tasted so good. Take advantage of Freshly's end of summer sale and score a special deal, $125 off your first 5 orders. Head freshly.com/ACS when you order today. That's freshly.com/ACS. Freshly.com/ACS for $125 off your first 5 orders.
Well, very funny comedian Ryan Sickler is going to join us right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Adam, Bald, Gina, longtime listener. Just wanted to suggest a song for Sonny's bass playing debut. Green Day. It's called Longview. I think it's a song on Dookie. The album's called Dookie. You know, there's a couple swear words, but that's a great little bass lick, man. Check it out. Thanks. Enjoy the show.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Love Dookie. Love Green Day. It's fantastic live. Ryan Sickler's here. You know who is here's one that might kind of blow your mind a little bit. A huge Green Day fan, big celebrity athlete.
Dennis Prager.
That would blow your mind. Big celebrity athlete, one of the biggest. Female.
Serena Williams?
Serena Williams.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Huge Green Day fan.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah.
Well, you did.
You just did.
I mean, you're right. You know, fuck that. I would have guessed.
You win again.
Good pull, bro.
Ryan Sickler in the studio.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Ryan's got live dates coming up all over the place. Zanies in Rosemont, Chicago, Illinois. That's November 11th, 12th. And then Full House Comedy. That'll be in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You go RyanSickler.com. Ryan,
you plugged my dates.
Of course.
I did.
That has never happened.
Well,
never.
You know what it is.
That is beyond professional.
I will
That
tell
has
you.
Never happened.
I'll tell you
Been
what it is.
podcasting for 12, 13 years. It's never.
I come from radio. Most podcasters come from a pot
Nothing.
dispensary.
Yeah.
Right. And so you hear those guys like, hey man, what's going on? Like I found myself in a lot, if it's over Zoom or something, I'll go like, are we doing the show now?
Have we
They'll go,
started?
Yeah, we are.
I say that a lot.
And they'll do a
this
lot of-
last 20 minutes we've been recording. I thought we were just shooting the shit, waiting for you guys to get your stuff
They'll do
together.
that Spicoli move where they'll go into the mic. Oh, hey, dude. I know that dude.
I know that dude.
Because somebody walked by a window, but we have no context or anything. But I come from radio. I'm a broadcaster.
You are.
And I feel like you need the dignity of plugs.
I started in radio, kinda. I had my own AM radio station or channel, whatever, at college. When I went there, it was called Towson State University. It's now Towson University. But I had an AM radio show, and they told me what to play. I was not allowed to deviate. I was not allowed to have guests.
In college radio, the ultimate freedom. Like,
Right.
who gives a shit what you
We
play?
played whatever
But they
we
had an
wanted.
FM station.
Oh,
So the
excuse me.
AM is the redheaded stepchild of this particular, program.
Do you remember what was on the playlist, songs-wise?
Just a lot of it would be classic rock. Green Day certainly was popular back then. This is the 90s. So all that 90s stuff like Candlebox. And you remember those 90
Yeah,
bands? That kind of
Yes.
shit. And I was like, nah. So one day something happened with the list and I was like, boom. And I just played what I like to play. And then I got a lot of feedback from people like, hey, we like that way better. So then I had a guest come in. And then that was a big no-no. And the only thing that really saved me was that guest. His dad was a big listener of their FM station and donated some money.
There it is.
So when I hit him up, I was like, no problem. He won't come in again. And they fired me. But I was like, just so you know, this is who his dad was. And then they wanted me to come back. And I was like, nah.
Why so stringent on the little listen to
AM.
AM college radio?
Right? AM. Yeah, AM.
Were you
And then-
like a broadcasting major or something? How'd
no,
you get that
I was
job?
a mass comm major, film, TV, all that. But I also interned for radio, so I would have worked for you. I was the guy that we would go to these '90s fests where I would see great bands like Green Day and stuff, and they were like, "You need to." I would have the all access pass, and they would say, "You got to go outside and pass out bumper
Sticker
stickers,
stop.
do all the
Yeah.
fucking shit." And I would go right around the back, and I'd dump them in a dumpster, and I'd slide in through the back, and I'd wait about 20, 30 minutes, and then I'd make my presence known. But
It was
I got to
so
see some great
analog.
bands.
I mean, yeah, sticker stops and the vans showing
van.
up at the Target and
And this
Chino
was just
Hills.
for internship. So when it got to, and back then too, radio stations were changing. Just one night you'd go to bed, it was classic rock. You'd wake up, it was country. And that's what happened. This was Froggy FM is what it became. Right? They were around
Where
the
is
country. There were some frogs. This was in Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a cave frog out here,
Yeah.
like San Bernardino.
Right. There were a bunch of
Yes.
country frogs, and they were like, and I had just gotten all my intern hours, and they're like, and it's muggy ass Maryland summer. It's 100 degrees, humid, and like, you need to get in that frog costume and go out in the parking lot waving. I was like, nah,
Fuck
I
off.
don't. But I knew I had the hours, and like, if you don't, we're gonna get fired and blah blah. And I was like, okay,
Just
good.
in time.
I had my hours, and I was like, I am not getting in that frog suit.
I
Go to
I never told this story. I don't think on this podcast, but fresh out of, I was so enamored with radio, in such a bizarre tractor beam kind of weird attraction to radio. Always had it. Talk radio, just radio. Growing up out here, listening to KHJ and all these KMET and stuff. I love it. When I got out of high school, I literally, me and a buddy took one of those like Columbia School of Broadcasting things where they're like, you pay $89 and we will get you an audition set, cassette
Audition
when
quality.
you're done, and you
Yeah.
can bring that around. It's like modeling school
Yes.
for fat chicks,
Barbizon.
and I mean, like, I'm not gonna do shit for you.
They didn't
but-
advertise it that way, but we all knew.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean? If you're a fucking model, someone will tell you.
Yeah, yeah, they will.
Learning to walk with a book on your head, it's not going to make you more fuckable. But You think about all these fucking things prey on poor dumb people because you're desperate, and like, wait, we could go to the Columbia School of Broadcasting. I think it was called Columbia School of Broadcasting.
It was like a vine in your life when none other existed. You're at the bottom of a pit. You're like, something I can hang my dreams on.
They had that for bartending school out here. I know people who took it. Guaranteed employment that never happened.
They called it college.
Yeah. That's right.
Yes, truck driving. Like people needed a skill. Mm-hmm. Oh, tell me if this is a faux pas in the you guys just popped in my head when you said bartending is a skill. You want to talk about fucking the most Hollywood thing you could do. I was at the Malibu Soho House last night for Fran Drescher's book release.
What? Why am I just hearing this right now, Mr. Sheffield? Seriously, why am I just hearing this right now? She's also the president of SAG.
Keep going.
Is she?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
It's only been 13 and a half hours, Gina. It's not like I've been sitting on
Why
this.
did you text me?
I should have. So
keep going. I'm going to ruin this for you, but keep going.
Me and Fran were hobnobbing at the Soho House. Upstairs where Kanye
I'm familiar.
Now, Brian belongs. Go ahead.
And now tell me the booze faux pas here.
Okay.
It's an open bar, so I'm going to help myself.
Sure.
And I would like usually I'll get a beer or I'll get a glass of wine, or if I'm going exotic, it's vodka, soda water, and lemon, which I got the lime with. So I now have my fault for not saying yellow lemon, because that's how dumb bartenders are now. You can't say lemon, you have to say the color of it. But it was fine, open bar. Circle back 41 minutes later, give myself another, freshen it up a little. No bartender. And then, but people waiting, and no bartender.
A hero will rise.
And at some point, nothing. And then the guy comes back from the back with an egg.
Oh.
And he cracks it, and a woman's standing in front of him, and he's trying to do
Ramos gin fizz.
Or something? Oh,
that
gross.
cunt ordered a slow gin fizz at a Fran Drescher book party.
Yeah.
Listen, beer, wine, or a drink, one additive.
He had to leave to go get that
He's got a
fucking
fucking
egg.
Bunsen burner and a graduated cylinder, and we're all just piling up. Because you don't have an egg, a raw egg. The fucking guy had to go to
the kitchen downstairs.
To go to Lucky's up the street and buy an egg.
That's not on the menu.
Bitch, I
Sorry.
get you like a slow gin fizz, and they're delightful. Off the menu.
I can only imagine there were more than 10 people at this event.
Yes.
In that case, to keep it to what we call in the business, two-stroke cocktails. Gin and tonic, Jack and Coke, whatever your two strokes are.
That fucking part where the person's got the zest of time, and they're pulling and they're shaking and they're adding vermouth and they're doing, it's like, you can't do it.
No.
Okay, so everyone, what about this decree? Have your drink, when whatever that is, it's not my business. That's like what you do in your bedroom. That's what you do. That's for you. It's none of my business. But you also need your drink at the party with the overtaxed bartender. Second, we'll take second slot. You slow gin fizzer, not here.
At home.
Whatever the exotic Harvey Wallbanger, whatever you're doing. No. Here, it's vodka soda, vodka 7-Up, a gin and tonic. It's a two-stroker.
Long Island iced tea. It's like, no, you won't.
No, you won't.
Here
That may be your drink. That's what you were at the table. Order alone.
Yes.
A lot of times out here at the summer bars, they'll just do a mojito stand.
Yes.
If you want a mojito, you go the fuck over there.
Right.
All right. We're not sitting here muddling it.
Right. No muddling.
I just want a fucking beer. Go get your mojito. And they would just have a mojito stand.
Egg extraction, no muddling shall take place.
Weddings are the worst, because that's where the ceremony's over, when rushes to the bar and the line's instantly 50 people long.
Right.
Two-stroke cocktails, beer, wine.
It's basically like you're at an ATM, you want to get out $60, and the guy in front of you is opening an account in the Cayman Islands, and you're like, that's not what this is for. It's we're going to mow it through.
That's right.
You know what my two-stroke is? Whiskey, ice.
Nice.
That's nice.
Good.
Thank you.
I think old-fashioned should be the peak of ordering like that, because that's two boozes and like the cherry and the sugar cube. That's
You're done.
That's all we
Can't go above it. We need a booze pyramid.
Egg.
We need a booze pyramid, and it has to stop at old fashioned.
But also, I'm sorry, please.
I just wanted, did she own the Malibu Soho Club? Was she the one that you go get the egg for?
Fran's mom or some
thank
shit?
you.
You know what I mean?
No,
Or
just
grandma.
some random.
Friend of Fran.
Oh boy, friend of
Hanging
Fran.
out.
Like friend of Dorothy.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you, Christy and I have been members there for years.
Of course.
And the
you-
Malibu one?
That's right.
Who did that come about?
They were newish in like 2018, and Christy had a coworker, her boss was a member there, and was like, they're looking for members. It had just opened.
Brian's a member of multiple clubhouses.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking great.
It's pretty awesome.
I want to say that
go to brunch there, it's
in that
fucking
situation, much like Brian said, the bartender needs to have a little set of nuts too, and just
Thank
say,
you.
no, we don't have that. All you have to do is say we don't have
We're
it.
not
You're going to
serving
start
those.
you're going to throw a fucking scene at Fran Drescher's book party.
Well, I
If you like to bring your own egg.
I think what it is, I think it needs to be the same protocol. Like I was behind somebody, you ever get behind the person and they're going 14 miles an hour and they're looking, and they're just crawling, looking. I get it. You're looking for some address you can't find. You got to pull over. That's it. If anyone has driven a canyon in LA,
Yes.
there's just people that are here from Nebraska who are scared shitless of turning a steering wheel, and they'll go 17 miles an hour, and there'll be a fucking wagon train of locals by the 35 people. I get it. You're nervous.
Yeah.
You're not a canyon person. Just pull it.
Yeah, a little
Just pull it
shoulder
off.
action.
Let them go by, and then you can have your. Same with the
stroll.
fucking slow gin fizz. Like, hey, bitch, you want one? Stand over here.
That's
Yeah.
it.
When the line's empty,
Clears out.
I shall then go find an
That's
egg
right.
for you.
Yeah, an egg.
Her Highness. Yes.
That's crazy.
All right. I'm
So
glad
how-
we've solved that problem.
How is Fran?
Well, Fran
Delightful.
and I suffered from the same thing, which is I don't think I've ever met Fran Drescher before. And she doesn't think she's ever met Adam Carolla before, but neither one of us know for certain because we've both been knocking around the town for 25, 30 years.
You did a 3-episode arc on the nanny.
Yeah.
Could have very well happened.
Weren't you at Spinal Tap?
She could have been on Loveline 2 times, MTV. I don't know. She doesn't know. So we both kind of walk up. But celebrity or even quasi-celebrity like me, it's a weird world because in the civilian world, you either know the person or you don't know the person. There's no harm. This is a world where you know the person and they know you, but we don't know if we've. See, you can't say good to see you again because that'll put them in a weird position. But if you say nice to meet you and they go, oh, we've met, which has happened many times.
So you had to do the dance.
So we just stood next to each for a while and then she did the first offering. She was like,
ow.
I don't, because she's met everybody, but why not me?
Right.
She wasn't like your neighbor, like, I know you.
Yeah, my neighbor I fought with. But so we both agreed we didn't know each other, but we knew each other.
I like it.
She was nice.
Yeah.
Said she'd come on the show.
I mean, really? That's cool.
Who else was there? Drop some names.
Ryan, do you do a killer Fran Drescher?
No, but I do love her laugh. I can't do. There you go. There it is, right there.
She.
And by the way, I think she still looks fantastic.
Oh yeah. No, she does.
She's beautiful. She's always been beautiful, but
she's beautiful because she's cut in a certain shape. You know, she's very long and angular, and just has a. She's beautiful. Yeah,
she's like one of those just timeless people. You know, timeless, like Sophia Loren. You know, that look. I remember sometime I've always, guys always joke around, whatever, they ask you gross questions sometimes just to fuck around, like, hey, would you ever have sex with a senior citizen? And I was always like, no. But then I saw Grumpier Old Men. And I think Sophia Loren was like 65 to 67. And I was like, you know what? Yes, I would. Yes, I motherfucking would.
And Margaret was no slouch in those movies.
No, she is. How old was she in Grumpier
Let's see. I'll look.
In the sequel?
Yeah, Fran Drescher, I think, is 63 and very fuckable. Super. And not even just from behind. I'm talking.
Fran is 65.
Good.
Wow, that's senior citizen.
65, totally fuckable.
She looks great.
And not reverse cowgirl. You can look at her.
You can look at her.
I'll let her on top.
Yeah, I told her as much.
Wow, Fran, get it, girl.
Yeah, she's hot, nice, got a book. Money's going to charity.
Oh.
Listen,
Cancer,
you
blah,
said
blah, blah.
You said the magic one there, nice.
Yeah.
At my age, I don't give a shit about what you look like anymore. Are you nice? Just be nice to me. You know what I mean? I don't care.
I'm getting back to, well, actually, I'm now switching from nice to character. I just want high character people. I just want people to do the right thing.
Go with values, good values.
Yeah, just solid whoever. Like, you know, the people, there's like two sets of people. There's the person who says, I can't come into work because I got to tend to my grandma because she's ill or whatever it is. And you go, fine. And then someone goes, where's Bob? And you go, his grandma's, and he's got to go deal with his grandma. And then there's part two category person, which is a lot of people, where they go, where's Bob? And you go, he says he has to deal with it. He may be. Yeah. I mean, we don't know.
No way to know.
I mean, he said, but he also likes surfing a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a swell. Anyway, he told me what he said to me. I'm done with those fucking people. I like the people you don't think about it. Yeah. You're just done. But there's a lot of categories of people where you go, this is why he said he wanted this, but I'm not sure what he means by...
I've learned that with parents, too. There are two types of parents. There are the parents who come to a child's party and stay with their children, and there are the parents who drop their fucking kid off and come back when it's over.
Yeah.
First time I saw that, I was like, wait, we can do that?
Yeah.
We're babysitting? This is a party for, I didn't know that. And they were like, what time are you guys going to be done? We're like, what? You're leaving?
You're on the clock,
They're
honey.
4. You know what I mean? You're leaving your 4-year-old. Like, what the hell?
Fran would never do that. I don't know. She's not married.
She was married
single?
for a long time. I mean, off the top of my head.
They're still friends.
Some handsome Englishman, and then I think they got divorced. I don't know what her current situation is.
She lives up down the street in Malibu.
You know, I went as the nanny for 2 years in a row for Halloween.
Really?
Yeah.
I did 4.
Doubled up on you.
You know, something you said to me a long time really stuck with me because I won't get specific, but I grew up with people like this who say the person you can't hang with and the person you can't tolerate is the one that goes, look, somebody's going to screw you. Your job is to screw them first.
Those are the worst.
The worst.
Those are the worst. Yeah.
And as a kid hearing that from a little bit older guys, whatever, it's like, now I'm confused. Is that what I'm supposed to be? Am I not living up to the grifter? It was just a confusing message. Not from parents, but from kids close to my age.
Yes, if we ever deal with those people, and I have, where their dad is like, everyone's going to try to fuck you, and you got to fuck them before they fuck. It's like, really? Thanks for the sagely advice, Dad. Yeah, those people are always the worst. Most of the people that do shit things to other people first declare they're victims of the person, and then there's a lot of this is a new thing now. They go, I had to protect myself. I had to protect you. You stole that guy's car stereo. Yeah, but I needed to protect myself. You know, I got to look out for me. That's why I push back against all that stuff because first step is I got to protect myself, but the next part is I have to sue everyone that employs me every time. I will sue everyone because I need to protect myself.
Yeah.
Right. It's a rationale. All right. You're going to hang out for news,
I'd love to,
with us. Let me tell you guys first about Good Ranchers. Halloween's around the corner, so you won't be the only one in a costume out there. There's, the neighbors will be too. So you don't want to hang out with the grocery store and the meat at the grocery store, and you don't want to get a product like that. You want a product made in the USA, and you know it's the real thing. You don't want these spooky meats out there. Good Ranchers. They deliver America's best meat and seafood year-round. Skip the meat aisle. I've tried other meat delivery companies, and Good Ranchers is the best. This is good protein. It only comes from American farms. Elevate your burgers, your meatballs, and tacos with my exclusive offer, 2 free pounds of Wagyu ground beef plus 20% off when you use the code Adam at goodranchers.com/Adam. Right, Dawson?
Put an end to low-quality, overpriced meat by going to goodranchers.com/Adam or use code Adam to claim your 2 pounds of free ground beef and $20 off. You save $25 on every box and lock in your price when you subscribe. That's goodranchers.com/Adam.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Ryan Sickler's going to hang in. We'll do the news right after this.
Do the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral. Weird crime, protest, politics. Give me news with Gina Grad. Stuff they saw on TMZ. Joe Biden. Kamala. Meet news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Fran's ex-husband, Peter, was co-creator and showrunner of The Nanny.
That's right.
Came out as gay after the marriage ended.
What?
Yeah. A very handsome Englishman, if I recall. And wasn't he the one that, remember, they survived a fucking gnarly home invasion. Remember she was like tied to a chair many years ago? I don't remember, but it was pretty.
No, I don't, well, first off, I hope she hadn't had a second home invasion. I think she was in New York.
Oh,
I think it was
maybe.
many years ago. And I think she was like raped at gunpoint.
God.
But I don't think
I
she
didn't
was
know that.
with, I don't know if she was with him at the time.
Oh, maybe not.
It was in 85, I believe. And it was her and like her roommate.
Broke in.
Yeah, January of 85.
Yeah.
2 armed robbers broke into Drescher and Jacobson's LA apartment. While one ransacked their home, Drescher and a female friend were raped by the other robber at gunpoint. Jacobson was also physically attacked, tied up, and forced to witness the entire ordeal.
Jacobson is
the friend.
roommate.
Oh, the roommate.
This is a very...
So she wasn't raped then?
Yeah.
Or was she?
I guess there were... so Drescher and Jacobson lived together, and then Drescher and a female friend were raped while Jacobson watched.
So someone was hanging around.
Yeah, so it sounds like
our
there were 3
friend.
people. Yeah.
That was just an oddly worded statement.
It was.
What kind of rock, paper, scissors game would have to take place if you're a couple of prowlers and you're going to break in and like, look, one of us is going to rape, the other's got to ransack. Well, you know me. I ransacked the last time.
I'm a ransacker.
I took one for the team.
That's you're good at ransacking.
This is 2 apartments in a row where I've been ransacking instead of raping.
I don't want your plan.
Well, I got good at it because I've been doing it so much, but I'll tell you what's gathered some dust.
Paul McCartney was the best drummer in the Beatles, but he let Ringo do it because Paul played the bass.
And couldn't John Lennon not play the bass?
Yes, it all works out. Water reaches its own level.
Listen,
let's get to raping and ransacking.
I'm black and 19. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Let's get back to
who's
that cultural.
Let's get back to
touchstone.
ransacking versus raping here. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I hurt my back ransacking last time.
I hurt my back raping.
Your back raping too.
All right. Just do the rock, paper, scissors and let's get on with it.
Fine. Rape, paper, scissors. Go.
All right. Yeah, so rape, paper, scissors. All right. Look, we shouldn't be joking.
No, this is not funny.
But I'm just saying. So that was that horrible.
Okay,
I don't know how you're
time.
ever. That was in L.A. too.
Oof.
Did they ever catch those guys? Chris?
Yeah, so according to Drescher, her rapist, who was on parole at the time of the crime, was returned to prison and given 2 life sentences.
Good. Bye-bye.
Oh, and Peter, the co-creator of The Nanny, that they met when Fran was 15, and they were high school sweethearts, married at 21.
I think the name of the production company was High School Sweethearts.
Ah.
Off the top of your head?
Yeah, literally. I'm a fan.
So she was, hold on a second. She was married to him then by 85.
Yeah, they were married in 78.
Oh.
But then why was she living in an apartment with a couple of chicks or whatever? Remember, is that confusing?
Out here for pilot season?
Yeah. Oh, anyway. Ugh. And then, all right, so what do you do if, you get divorced and at the end they're like, and I'm gay?
Yeah, let's talk about that because they were together for how many years?
And you're gay. So
a lot of years, were they not?
That
Since they were 21.
21 years.
That had to mean.
Well, probably more than that since they were 21.
Somebody had to step out a little bit.
I mean,
if you're
come
gay,
on,
right?
But also, do you think she knows?
Yeah.
At some point as well, and just accepts it.
Marriage of convenience.
I don't know. I don't know. I could be very naive. I don't know what I would know. I don't know if he told her. I don't know if they had an arrangement. I think there's 2 different reactions, though. Like, I think if you tell a woman you've been married to for 21 years you're gay, she's probably not going to be happy about that. But if the woman says she's bi, the guy's going to start agitating for a threesome.
Yeah, he's going to pop the confetti.
Yeah, or at least you may throw up, he may beat off, is what I'm saying. I think that would be two very different reactions.
I think
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fair.
Because we'd want to know, like, who, and then you'd go, my friend, remember she was a cheerleader, Diane? Oh, yeah. Yeah, what about her? Well, remember that time we said we went to Palm Springs?
We haven't had her over in too long.
Yeah, she
Last time
back.
she dropped her kids off at the party and left.
She likes a slow gin fizz, doesn't she? I can go, good night.
I had a good friend of mine in high school. I've known him since 6th grade. We're still great friends today. And in our 20s, he calls me and he's like, "You're never going to believe this." And I'm like, I'm guessing pregnancies. I'm guessing deaths. I'm guessing all these things. And he's like, "My father's gay." And I was like, "What?" And he tells this story about how his father called him up and he's like, "Listen, I want to have dinner with you. There's something I really need to tell you." And he's like, "That's not my dad at all."
Right.
But his dad smoked growing up our whole lives. So he's like, all right, he's driving to dinner by himself and he's like, okay, Dad's about to tell me he's got cancer. We're going to figure this out. We're going to get these, really working himself up to hear this cancer news. And when they sit down and have dinner, his dad goes, "I'm gay." And he just said, "No, you have cancer." Like, he was not ready for that at all.
I'm smoking poles, son.
Wait, what? Like, spinning his head around. And then, and we all take our shots at him and stuff, as you do, because you should. And then, a few years later, one of my brothers is getting married, and we're in Chicago, and he happens to be coming to Chicago to visit his father and his father's new boyfriend, and he's going to come to the wedding. And he and his wife are high school sweethearts. So we get to this little party we're having in Chicago, hanging out, and he shows up, and he is pissed off. And I'm like, "What's the matter?" And his wife's got the biggest grin. She goes, "We just met his dad's boyfriend." I'm like, "What's the problem?" And she goes, "He's our age."
Oh, yeah.
So now his dad's banging guys our age, and he's trying his ass off to every level. Like, God, that's tough. That's tough.
He's gay, but he's a man.
I think there's going to be a lot more dads coming out in the future. Correction to the story. It was Fran and Peter's apartment, her ex's apartment. That's my dad. And Peter was forced to watch it.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
God.
No, is that real?
Yes.
He was.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. How does the internet work? Where, Gina knows the story.
Well, I was jumping around. So when it says Drescher and Jacobson's apartment, I assumed that that was the female friend, but it was the guy's name is Peter Jacobson.
Was the female friend there?
Yeah, there is Drescher and a female friend were raped at Drescher and Jacobson's apartment.
The husband had to
both. It's still up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to have her on.
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
Hot Drescher talk. I'm very excited. Well, let's talk about this thousands of low-level drug offenders who may be getting this get-out-of-jail-free card. So President Biden announced on Thursday that he's pardoning all federal marijuana possession
By the way,
convicts.
can I say this? Every human being that is doing something heinous to some other citizen of the United States is on parole.
Yeah.
Now, this guy abducted a family up north. I don't know if you heard about this, with an 8-month-old baby, and the mom and the dad and the uncle or whoever, and then the baby showed up at the house, zip ties, took him out, executed everyone. Was on parole, or was accused. He was accused. He got busted for doing that before, except for he didn't kill the people. And this time he decided to kill the people. It's like every motherfucker that's beating the shit out of somebody in a subway or smash and grab or punching somebody or abducting or whatever. It's always a long rap sheet. It's 99% of the violent crime from 7% of the people who it's a way of life for. We're going to have to do something about this. This sort of revolving door shit. It's weird because I don't think we wrap our mind around crime right. It's like, no one who would ever do this to anyone. You've never met them. You've never seen them. But there are a very small percentage of people who are doing all of it. And
prisons are full of.
The rap sheets or whatever. We just decide we can't have these people locked. Yes, we can.
But
Yeah,
maybe this will help.
Not
Maybe
the
we get rid of
make
these
room with
low-level
the-
weed
right.
offenders, get the prisons opened up for room to get these fucking lunatics in
And this
there.
is a little bit. This is a little bit symbolic, so it's not quite as cut and dry as you think. So let me explain. So he urged state leaders to do the same, and that's really where the bulk of these people would come from.
Governors need to say yes.
Exactly. He wants the Department of Justice to review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law. By the way, it is a Schedule I drug like heroin.
That's correct.
So that's
Heroin.
insane. We need to figure that out. But a senior official said that around 6,500 citizens convicted of simple possession of marijuana in the last 3 years, and a few thousand more in D.C., but that no one is in federal prison solely for a simple possession of marijuana charge, and that most marijuana possession convictions occur at the state level. So this is symbolic, right direction, but it's really not going to be up to Biden. It's a state by state.
Well, how many
issue.
doctors are in prison right now for overprescribing painkillers, the heroin that's all over the streets right now? How many of those guys
None.
and
Great
ladies are in
question.
prison right now? None. But all these marijuana people are going to fucking prison.
I can't imagine anyone in California going to prison for marijuana solely.
Yeah.
I feel like you can do almost anything in California and get let out.
Well, and it's
Well, you can
funny.
do heroin on the streets. Have you seen
Sure.
these videos? I watched one the other day. It's
Videos,
not
we
funny,
live
but
here.
it's so damn funny. This lady is a Subway employee. Have you seen this? And she is
No.
making this man sandwich, clearly on heroin, and just slowly but surely falling asleep as she does it until her face and the brim of her visor are laying in this man's sandwich. And he's
Really?
just holding the video watching her. I see another one where the lady's checking people out of the register and she's just falling asleep on the sidewalk, standing up. Like, it's insane.
It's called dope dropping, and it makes you look like a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're kind of standing in, like you're like in a suspended state.
But she's employed, right?
Well, she was.
She
until that
was, so
moment.
she fucking
Did
laid
you
in that
guys-
guy's sandwich.
there's a
Look
new
at that, man.
Subway opening in 9 minutes somewhere.
They're back, baby.
I would have no. If you were to ask me about Subway, I'd go, no. I mean, I get In-N-Out Burger and I get McDonald's and stuff like that. But no, you'd go to a sandwich place
You
and
get
get like
Jimmy
a
John's,
good
you get
sandwich.
Jersey
You know what I
Mike's,
mean?
Gimellas.
Costs a
Criskin-
$1.11 more. Gimellas, yeah.
Chris can look it up, but as of recently, a few years ago, there were more Subways than McDonald's.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, Subway and Starbucks were like spreading
Are
it the same
Subways,
way.
is that U.S. or Subways worldwide like
US.
McDonald's are?
Oh, I thought it was worldwide.
Is that right?
Well, the one I saw was U.S. It may be true worldwide.
crazy.
I don't know.
I'll tell you that the thing is every time I try to make fun of it, somebody who I'm saying it to goes, "Oh, I love Subway." I get they have their. It's. I think what it is they have their sandwich because they'll tell you. They won't go, "I like Subway." They go, "I like the tuna." I
Yeah.
get it. I get it with extra, whatever.
their Starbucks
whatever.
order.
Yeah, it's their thing, and it's
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's familiar, and when you're dumb, familiar is better than good. It's like that's how dogs eat.
Yeah.
My dog likes familiar. You know what I mean? Like the same thing every day. In the U.S., 24,000 Subways versus 14,000 McDonald's.
That's
Damn.
almost twice as much.
But you can do that
It's
anywhere.
actually 13.8 McDonald's. I just rounded up, so yeah, even better.
You can go to Jersey Mike's and say Turkey Club Mike's Way. Like you can do this in other places, people.
You know what I think it was? The East Coast has subs on lock. Like you can go get a pizza and a sub. We used to go get subs, not just a cheesesteak, but a chicken parm, an Italian, a meatball, whatever. And I don't think the rest of the country, the Midwest or anything like maybe Chicago, but outside of that, the Iowas and Idahos, they don't have stuff like that. And then boom, you hit something like a Subway, and these people think that's what a real sub is.
As someone from Kansas, he's 100% right. You
It's
grew up
the-
on Subway. That's
Right.
your sandwich.
It's the inverse of Taco Bell. Well,
Right.
that's Mexican food in
Right.
90% of the
That's
country.
what we grew up thinking.
because there's no choice. You
Right.
just get a sandwich.
Yeah, there was a place in the good sandwich names out in Chatsworth that I used to eat at, probably with Tom Johnson. My guy was my foreman when my work swung a hammer, but maybe it meant more to us. But it was called the Subcontractor,
That's not bad.
and I thought that's a good
good.
solid.
I like
it was
that.
all a bunch of just
Subcontractor.
I
HVAC
love a pun.
guys and framers. A bunch of subs would literally eat at
But
the
white
Subcontractor.
paper, rolling it up with the
Yeah.
masking tape, boom, there you go. Little,
Cut the paper in half.
That's
yeah,
good.
That's a
like
sub.
a plan check.
Fresh
You roll it up.
bread. You
There's a
know.
restaurant called Plan
I
Check.
know, that's
They're
right.
Plan check, yeah.
I always wanted to do a deli food truck called Winnabagel.
Nice.
If anyone's interested in
You should
investing.
definitely fucking do that.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Thank
How many times you just want I don't want a whole sandwich. I want a bagel.
When I was growing up out here, Subway, a little bit later, but they were around. Subway and H Salt fish and chips were tied.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, H Salt was more
Salt.
popular than Subway. It was just fish and chips.
There's one in North Hollywood.
Is it still there?
Yeah, it's there.
So there was like they were tied, and in the last 30 years, Subway just fucking exploded.
Is it good? Should I go
H-Salt?
in? Yeah.
H Salt. Well, first off,
how bad can it be?
It's fish and chips.
It's fried
So
everything.
It's French fries. It's like
and fried fish.
Meaty French fries.
Oh, like steak fries?
Kind of, but not as meaty. Like good meaty, but good. They're a little bit bulkier. Dipping them into the tartar sauce, fucking awesome. So you got that. The other is just cod with batter on it. I mean, you cannot fuck up fish and chips.
It's true.
And if you do, there's enough vinegar and lemon and sauce and
Yellow
stuff. It's
lemon.
fucking awesome. Yellow lemon.
lemon. Well, some sad news from the comedy world. Rest in peace, Judy Tenuta.
Yeah.
Yeah, she died of ovarian cancer Thursday in LA. She was 72. Now, you may remember the raspy voice known as the Love Goddess. Also
The
appeared
accordion.
That's right. Appeared in 2 Weird Al videos and some TV shows. Born in 49, she began her stand-up career in the 70s. By the 80s, she was on stage with Seinfeld, Paul Reiser, Jay Leno, Ellen DeGeneres. Her shtick, like you said, was wearing this sort of like ethereal gypsy costume, and she had a flower in her hair and the accordion.
Yeah.
I have a clip just to remind you. Also, after, I'm wondering if maybe Jay Leno has some memories of.
Yeah, it's in there. She did the whole accordion. That was her thing.
That's right.
She's I got your squeeze box. That was. She did. She did Tenuta. She had. She wore the big. Was an orchid.
Oh, it was an orchid.
Orchid in the hair.
Specifically.
Yeah, she'd come up there like the Queen of Sheba there. She had the going on there. And she'd do the whole. It was a lot of accordion based,
Accordion-based humor?
Yeah. She did October Chest, and she'd put her tits out like that. It was a lot of accordion based stuff. You know what I mean?
I think you're right about that. Let's watch a clip that supports what Jay just said.
The Pope and I astral projected. It happened. And we went to Texas, and I wrote this love song for the Pope. It's a country and western love song.
She did Ode
and
to
you
the
could
Pope.
dance to
That
this
was her
case
thing.
sponge. I just want a cowboy to ride me home.
Yeah, she's funny.
I just want a cowboy who's rich and lives in Rome.
She did Cowboy Pope band. That was her band.
With gold-plated soap. Yeah, I just want a cowboy named John Paul the Pope.
She did Ride the Pope bit. That
People
was her
loved
bit.
it.
Yeah, she did Pope. She did play the accordion and the squeeze box, and then she did the whole Pope thing. And
Right.
that was her thing. Orchid. She'd wear an orchid in her hair.
Well, you really
Yeah.
do have very vivid memories of her.
Oh, yeah, we toured. Yeah,
toured?
no, well, yeah.
I could see that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think of her like Louis Anderson, like that whole vibe.
Louis Anderson's a big fat guy. I mean, he did the whole.
Oh yeah, I wasn't saying they were the same
He
person.
did the whole gap tooth thing. That was his bit.
Oh, that was his.
Yeah,
that
she
was
did
his
the
big-
Pope. She did Ride the Pope. Ride the Pope was her thing.
That was
Louis
like her-
fat guy. Then there was mom.
Oh
He
wow!
was a good comedian. Good guy.
Thank you for that history lesson. Okay, so she will be missed. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. This thing has legs. It's still happening. There's suits, countersuits, and it's getting dark. They almost settled the divorce battle over the French winery that they own together. But then Pitt allegedly required that Jolie sign a non-disclosure agreement that prohibited her from speaking outside of court about Pitt's physical and emotional abuse of her and the children. In court documents submitted last week, she claims that Brad Pitt, and we kind of remember the story a little bit, Brad Pitt choked one of the kids on that flight in 2016 on their private jet. Brad reportedly got...
Some World War Z flashbacks.
That's right. He got drunk. He got belligerent. The pilots had to make an unscheduled stop to get Brad off the plane. He reportedly peed on the tarmac and hijacked an airport truck before crashing.
That's a fucking man right there.
That's so Brad
That's a
Pitt, right?
man.
That's all.
I want to party with
That's
him.
right.
Badly.
Angelina's...
This is true. This is
Yeah, it's, well, I mean, it's from the sun.
The big revelation was Angelina Jolie is the one who called called TMZ and dropped the dime on herself and Brad when she was with Jennifer. Did you hear about this?
To make it all
more
clean
salacious,
break?
or yeah.
I think that was a recent scuttlebutt. It's about a week and a half old, maybe Max Papai. But she's like, she's the guma, and he's married and with somebody else,
If
and
you
they're
want
like dating, and they're like, I would like you to end this.
If you want this to go away.
So they were like filming, and they were going to go walk on the beach together, and she alerts the paparazzi to come break it. Look, if you're not
Crazy
going to
like a
tell
fox.
Jennifer Aniston, then the Inquirer will.
Interesting.
Interesting, right?
Did he know that?
No.
I mean,
Before the walk on the beach?
was it like a
He knew
threat?
that,
Like,
but-
was it a threat? Like, if we don't go public, I'll do it for you.
I do not think so. I think this is a recent revelation.
Wow.
I don't know if she ever.
Interesting. Well,
said
apparently, in a countersuit, she also accuses Brad of pouring beer and wine on her and the children. He became physical and injured Angelina, apparently, this according to the New York Post. The kids who came to her defense met their dad's rage, quote unquote. One was choked, another slapped. I don't really see Brad as this violent drug guy.
I agree.
But what don't we know? I don't
He's
know.
a weed smoker, so I don't see this. He's a weed smoker.
Yeah.
But he could probably get loose. He peed on a tarmac and stole a truck and crashed it.
Listen, as the older I get, the more and more I have to pee a lot. And if I was nowhere to go, I would absolutely step outside and pee on that tarmac
Sure,
too.
I get it.
I don't know about stealing the airport truck, but if I was Brad Pitt, I would.
The airport truck's very limited in terms of commandeering something, and
It's probably an old F-150 from the 80s.
if you're lucky, it's probably one of those baggage tractors.
A stair car.
They're calling it a truck.
Tires don't even take air; they're just solid. You're going 9 miles an hour with the cops chasing you.
They're just lightly trotting next to you, like, come on, Brad.
Steering it
Come
like
on,
a
Brad.
tugboat, Like I just don't think you could evade anyone on one of those things.
I used to drive those.
Oh, yeah?
When I worked at UPS, shout out to UPS Baltimore Hub Primary 1 Joe Avenue. I used to drive the Easter egg cart, and I would have that orange cart with like 7 of them behind me, and I would have to learn to snake through the building. I had to teach me how to drive it. Yeah,
that's a skill.
Yeah, it was a skill. Because you'd have to stand up on it. You'd get through all these poles. It was wild. I loved it.
Wow. You should go do. I bet you're pretty good at go-karts and shit.
Yeah, I love go-karts.
Yeah, I bet you are. Let's talk about Britney Spears, just checking in on some of the rich and famous. Her mom came out online begging for forgiveness. She can't contact her directly, so she made this social post that I think has Britney's blocked her anyway. But that's been met with a big F you from Britney in what seems to be a now deleted post. Britney lit up Instagram on Wednesday night with this F-bomb laced reply to the mom's apology. And even though the post is gone, I'm going to read you some of it, but I'll give you something better to look at. Here she posted some nudes, and I'll show you that instead while I read the Instagram post.
Her new husband, Sam.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
There's people back there.
That's right.
She's really
a lot of
Is that Soho Malibu?
She's really nude.
Yeah, she is.
She is very nude.
She's going for it. And this is what she says to her mom.
Is her husband allowed to kind of chime in? Like, I want to take some more nude shots. Like, are you allowed to go?
Is he taking
kind of my
someone's
wife
taking
now?
it.
Yeah,
Like,
can we calm down, tone it down?
reel in the nudes a little bit?
Yeah.
She's wearing a hat.
She's wearing a hat because the other post was, I cut my hair, but I'm not ready to show you. Instead, I'll show you my entire naked body.
Okay.
Something
That's what she's
seems
ready to
off
show.
with her.
What?
Yeah.
Well, here's what she said in
She's at
response
a
to
resort, it looks like to me, because there's like a
No.
little Hobie cat back there and
Right.
stuff.
It's a sandals-ish kind of thing.
This is what she had to say to the apology.
It'd be nice for any couple that's walking on the beach, because you'd be like, I went on vacation, I saw Britney Spears. Where, like in the line at the restaurant or something? Did you buy? She's fucking naked. I just
At the beach.
titties and snatch and she was right there. Like
Big hat.
most of the time you spot someone at the airport,
right,
or walking out of the club or something,
Yeah.
but you don't really get them fully naked.
I mean,
I think she would have a better tattoo.
yeah.
It's not a great looking tattoo.
I don't know
over
what
there.
her
It's all faded, and I can't even tell what the hell it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's dirt.
It's all beat up. Look at that.
Is it
What's
a
all beat up?
star?
I don't know. Well,
The tattoo?
Zoom in.
Yeah, she has one on each side.
oh, is it? There's two.
I
in
see
there?
another one.
Oh yeah, there's two crotch
Balance.
tattoos.
Chippendale.
Crotch
Maybe.
tattoo.
Okay, well, let me read you what she had to say to mom. For 13 years, I was the fucking saint who was scared to move, or I knew my dad would put me somewhere if I didn't cooperate. Even in America, the land of the free, years go by and he still puts me in a psych ward. And as for Lynn, Brittany wrote, no one fucking person stood up for me. Mom, take your apology and go fuck yourself. I pray you all burn in hell.
Wow.
Don't,
That's
Brian.
definitive.
Don't. Yeah, so that's what she thinks of the apology.
Wow.
I just, that
Brittany showing her Brittany.
Here's the thing. I don't know if we like, you guys tell me if you like this time or not. I grew up in a time where people just had celebrities, they had no problems. At least that I was aware of.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They were
Very
just
behind closed doors.
It was this lifestyles of the rich and famous, and that's Morgan Fairchild.
That's right.
And she comes down the stairs dressed to the nines, and the butler opens the car door for her, and she has her slow gin fizz because she's got her own bartender.
And that's all we know.
And they created this thing that was just like, oh, look at that. Look at Tom Selleck. He doesn't have a problem in the world.
George Hamilton.
Bob Urich. That guy, he's fucking Dan Tana. He doesn't have a problem in the world. Not a problem in the world. And now everyone's just taking pictures of the Hasselhoff's daughters filming him when he's fucked up trying to eat a cheeseburger. Everyone's tweeting shit out. We know exactly what Brad Pitt's up to on that private flight. There was nothing. We didn't know who was gay. We didn't know who was miserable. We didn't know who was had mental issues. It was all just this glamorous world. Kind of liked it.
Yeah. Better off.
They're people too.
They're stars. They're just like us.
That should give me some solace or something. It doesn't. It just makes me feel like now everyone's miserable and there's no chance.
Yeah.
Used to be that if you could afford Morgan Fairchild's home, then you would be happy.
That's right.
Now that's off the table. Everyone's miserable. They either kill themselves or come out as gay at some point. It's like it's all sad.
Yeah.
I miss the fantasy.
You're sick of people living their truth publicly.
I am not interested in your truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But they're not interested in mine. I mean, truth is a two-way street.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, because we were talking about things that happen at the airport and at the airplane, I feel that we need to talk about this. A Southwest Airlines pilot is suing the company, her union, and a former co-pilot who stripped down naked in front of her in the cockpit during a flight in 2020 and watched some porn for himself. Christine Janning reported that Michael Hack reported him to her bosses and the FBI after the incident and claims the airline retaliated against her by keeping her grounded for 3 months. Hack eventually pled guilty to locking the cockpit door, stripping down naked, and watching porn.
Well, the cockpit door's locked by law.
Sure.
Anyway.
So he was doing the right thing in one
But
case.
it is the cockpit.
That's right.
It's got the word cock in it. It's got. If you put me in a room and I said, "Is that door impenetrable?" Yep. And it's fully locked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a viewing port. Well, we can look out, but no one's
seeing in.
How long's this flight? 7 hours. I'm going to beat off real quick. I have a thing about being in locked small spaces and not beating off.
Well, you're going to love his reasoning for this.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
This guy's flying our plane.
Yes,
now. That's the
exactly.
Thing.
And I think
we're back there doing what we're supposed to be doing.
I feel like
He's
you're
up
going
there harassing this woman that's trying to get us safely.
That's right. And I think you may just respect where his head was at. He says he did it because Janning, who ended up suing, asked him if there was anything he wanted to do before he retired.
No, he wanted to join.
It's a bucket list item?
He wanted to join the half-mile club.
That's exactly right. He was convicted of committing a lewd incident or obscene act and sentenced to probation.
I would have worked a medical angle. Like, I'd be like, God, I can't get my ears to pop.
My ears.
It's only, you do that thing where you hold your nose.
Chewing gum,
there's
maybe?
only one. I got to relieve some pressure. There's only
Recalibrate.
There's only one thing that works. Yeah.
Now you got me thinking. I mean, they're just computerized tubes. How many male, female, or even male pilots do you think have actually fucked in a cockpit?
Got to ask your dad's friend. He's probably banged a few young guys up there.
Yeah, right. You're right. But not in the cockpit. I mean, how many pilot tandems
Yeah.
do you think have actually fornicated in the cockpit while we're all back there just flying?
It's 5-6 hours.
It's
and
had to
plane's
happen.
flying
They do
itself.
sleep,
It
so
had to
yeah,
happen.
they definitely fly
It's
themselves.
definitely had to happen. Just statistically, it's had to
It's
happen.
called a cockpit. You're right. And the guy who's in the jump seat's called Deadhead. He's got head and cock.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't they change cockpit to flight deck?
Flight deck.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing?
Flight
Yeah.
It's not a deck, though.
I agree.
They wanted to get rid of cockpit.
Yeah, there are too many
But they
jokes.
still have deadheading, I think.
Deadheading isn't that like
I've had some deadhead
I
before.
bet.
Yeah.
Isn't deadheading like
great.
like a flight attendant jumping on a
Yeah,
flight?
in the jump seat.
Okay.
Oh, that's not the co-pilot, then that's the
No,
little,
that's
got
the
it.
jump
Yeah,
seat,
the little
yeah.
seat
Right.
that faces everybody.
Well, can we round things off with one more airport story, or at least airline story? Virgin Atlantic, always on the cutting edge of progress.
Oh, this
I thought they were
one.
gone, by the way, until I thought they went out of business until I literally
They got
landed at
bought by-
They got bought by
LAX.
Alaska.
Virgin America.
And I walked by and there was a Virgin America. They're back now?
Well,
No,
Virgin
they got-
Atlantic.
Yeah, Virgin Atlantic's always been
Oh,
around. Virgin
Atlantic,
America bought
America.
by Alaska.
So
Alaska bought Virgin America?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So they've said they're scrapping gendered uniforms in an effort to champion the individuality of its employees. And we have some pictures for you. The British airline announced in a press release that the cabin crew, pilots, and ground staff can select which uniform they feel most comfortable in, no matter their gender, gender identity, or gender expression. As to why they're doing this, Virgin Atlantic's chief commercial officer said in the press release that the company believes it's important to encourage people to embrace their individuality, be their true selves at work.
No, not
and this
at
is
work.
part of the Be Yourself
Do
agenda.
that shit in your apartment.
So we got some men in some lovely skirt suits. We got some ladies in, a three-piece suit.
Can you get a job there and identify as the pilot?
Oh.
Yeah, Dawson. I don't like it. I like uniforms. I like lines. Because I'll tell you, at a certain point, you're going to ask for a fucking bag of pretzels, and they're going to go, that's not part of my vibe, man. Like I'm doing my
Right.
I didn't get on this plane to
about me
serve
right
you.
now.
This is really more about how I feel about myself.
Oh, slippery slope.
Slippery slope. Yeah. I think there's some transgender, transsexual.
I think
I don't know
so.
what we call it anymore. I gotta tell you, I'm not for it. I'm old fashioned. I like uniforms. And by the way, if you find this kind of stuff, to be difficult, then pick another profession where they don't have a uniform.
Well, and also, what happened to just like everyone in a sleek pair of pants and a blazer?
That's it.
Yeah,
just a universal
Yeah.
uniform that is good, asexual.
Yeah,
good for
fine.
everybody.
Yeah.
So
That's all you
thumbs
need.
down.
What it is here's why it's always thumbs down to all these whatever. When Eminem says we're gonna have a lesbian Eminem or whatever the fuck they're doing. Keep in mind, they don't give a fuck. They're just pandering to a small group of fucking assholes that are steering this country off a cliff. They're pandering. They don't give a fuck about whatever. We're going to move the All-Star game from Georgia to Colorado. It's like they don't, black people, voters' rights or whatever. Everyone is just, it's a constant race to pander and give the appearance that you care as much as, and they don't. And that's why it bothers me.
No, a little disingenuous.
Yeah, but listen, think about, it's all just part of the sort of evolution of commercial travel. There used to be serving carts and
silverware.
You'd get a pin with like an eagle on it or American
Blanket,
flag or
a
something.
pillow.
Get a little tote case, Those Pan Am tote cases were so valuable that the Beatles were like, hey, a free tote case. This is huge. A weird size, too.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't hold.
I think I still have. My father worked for Pan Am.
Oh,
I still
my
have a
God.
bunch of work shirts, his old work jackets.
Really?
Yeah. And I wear them sometimes, and people come over to me and like, "Is that original?" I'm like, "It is," and they're like, "You shouldn't wear that." I'm like, "Yeah."
Why, stolen valor?
Yeah, I mean, no, they think it's so valuable that I should
Oh, my
save
God.
it,
I bet you I'll bet you if you had the one the Beatles walked off the plane with, you'd be sitting on several $100,000. What'd your dad do?
He was a crew chief.
Okay.
He worked at whatever it was National. Now it's Reagan, I think it is now. DC Airport.
Worked on
there.
the planes?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Ran the crew that worked on everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like Sheen on Wall Street, or let's see, not Wall Street. God, what's his name? The Oliver Stone movie, Money.
I don't know. Who
Martin
worked on
Sheen,
that.
the Agree is good.
Sheen. Yeah.
It was Wall Street.
It is Wall Street. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Sheen. I was thinking Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I couldn't think of Martin's first name. He was the crew chief on the Blue Star airline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's good. It's not pilot good, but it's good.
It's
you know
not
what
pilot.
I mean?
Listen, I grew up knowing it wasn't pilot good.
That's the problem with Dad worked for
When your
Pan
dad's
Am.
bringing home trash cans of sodas and shit, I
Right.
know it's not pilot good.
Pan Am. If you said my dad worked for Pan Am, everyone's head goes to pilot, and then there's 289 jobs that are disappointing under pilot, and it's going to be one of those. You know what I mean? He did the sweep and the mop of the dining area and the pilot lounge. You know, it's all going to be something boring and shitty under pilot.
I remember going
But
to
crew
work.
chief is pretty strong.
He was top of his position. He was top of his position. But I remember it was a room that wasn't much bigger than this, square, 4 walls, square. And back when lottery tickets were the size of a business card. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Before they were this long and all that shit. And they all would play. And 3 of the 4 walls were completely covered, wallpapered in losing fucking tickets. I'll never forget walking in and seeing.
Really?
Yeah, these are the guys doing that all
Stay
the
in
time.
school,
This
kids.
wall had like boobies and stuff on it. But, stuff you couldn't do now at all.
The chronology of Virgin is 2019 stops requiring women to wear makeup and skirts. 2022 allows crew members to show off their tattoos. And now we're getting into this. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. Go fuck yourself. I pray you all burn in hell.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, let me tell you about our friend Jordan Harbinger. All right, let's see. You can go San Diego Mic Drop doing comedy there October 28th and 29th. So come by and see the live pod there and see some stand-up there as well. Vegas, Wise Guys coming up November 2nd. You can go to St. Louis Helium on November 11th, 12th. You can go to amcurl.com for all the live shows. You want to see Ryan Sickler? He's got live shows coming up. Chicago, Grand Rapids. What you should do is go to ryansickler.com and find out where he's going to be and when he's going to be doing his excellent stand-up. The podcast, the Honeydew podcast as well. You can find that wherever you listen to finer podcasts. Ward Connerly, you can shoot him a tweet at @ToBeEqual. And until next time, Sam Carolla, for Ryan Sickler, Ward Connerly, Gina Grad, and Paul Bryan, say it. Mahalo.